Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be continuing on the theme of exploring different concepts outside of MBTI, and I would like to dedicate this video and give a shout out to Angela, who left the comment that you would like me to go more into what even is an indigo child or a starseed, because you believed that I could explain it in a more grounded or logical way than what you've heard before. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how important that was for me to receive, because my entire life I've felt very much dabbling between the worlds of like reality and like some woo-woo magical world, and I've been trying to connect the dots a lot, like just in the back of my mind all day, every day. I'm pretty much thinking about spirituality and like energy and like other dimensions, but it's been hard for me to gain the courage to even share what these things are, because I want so badly to be grounded and I want there to be reasons for why I believe everything that I believe. So the way I'm going to approach this video, a lot of you guys might already be familiar with the concept of what an indigo child is, but the way I'm going to approach this video is that I'm just imagining that you listening is a good friend of mine who asked me what an indigo child is, and I'm just going to tell you my answer. This is the way I see it, but other people see it differently. And I also, this is not like an educational like lecture. I don't have a bunch of sources to point you to, but I do encourage you to do your own research. So the whole idea of what an indigo child is, well, actually, before I even go into Indigo Children, I feel like it's important to know that one book that I read that really changed my life is The 3 Stages of Volunteers by Dolores Canon. I think it's called Stages, or The 3 Waves of Volunteers by Dolores Canon. Dolores Canon was a hypnotist that specialized in past life regressions, and what she started to notice is she would take people through these hypnoses, and she would hypnotize people and get them into this deep stage of their subconscious or their shadow. We know Carl Jung talks about the shadow. If you're following me, you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, you're familiar with like our shadow functions, which I guess one random disclaimer thing I want to say too is that I've been feeling more and more lately that it's impossible to describe the human experience without including the spiritual side things as well, because when we're talking about Myers-Briggs, our mind is, just one aspect of who we are. And that's why, I am trying to share, Carl Jung himself didn't separate the esoteric from what's real, what we can tangibly touch. And so that's my goal as well, is to really get at a holistic view of who people are. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, Dolores Canon, she did all these hypnoses of people, and what started to happen, she started to see that people would recall past lives that were not human, and she recorded these things. She just made a note of them. She was very much of an investigator sort of person. Like, she strikes me as perhaps an Enneagram 5 INFJ. I may be wrong, but she has, if you read any of her books, it is very convincing for even a skeptic to open up their mind about the possibility that we might have had past lives on other planets. Because what she discovered was people, when they would go into the hypnosis, which is like a different wavelength. I don't know much about hypnosis, but I know that the way it works is that they vibrate a different frequency. They use things like delta waves, I think it's called. They use different sound frequencies and other things to get people's mindset to a lower frequency where they are tapping into their shadow. And so that is a way people use hypnosis to tap into the human collective unconscious, you could say. They tap into the human shadow, the parts of yourselves that are unconscious, that I think we all can agree that the unconscious or the subconscious does exist. But the thing is that the things that you find in the shadow or the unconscious are not something that you could test. This is not something that you can test scientifically. And so a lot of people go into one camp or another. Once they start diving into the esoteric realms, they get deep into their woo-woo shit, they stay there, because then on the other end, it's these total scientists that are like, well, prove that. Please prove that for me. You can't prove what's in the shadow. You cannot prove the unconscious. It's just too mysterious. It's just not how it works. And we have to be open to that mystery in life and embrace it if we ever want to experience the beauty of life, because it's not as beautiful for things to be in a super straightforward, scientifically measurable way. So for those of you, okay, so that's kind of hypnosis, and so that's why I trust what she finds. I hope you're following this, is that I trust some of her theories because the way that she explored them was through this lens of openness and curiosity. And she found different patterns of different star systems that would be named, and different sort of similarities in the energy of people who would come to her wanting a session. And you could read more about any of her sort of channelings of the subconscious in her books. But the one I want to talk about specifically is called The 3 Waves of Volunteers, where what she talks about is that after the atomic bomb in World War II, this led to a huge wave of higher dimensional creatures in different planets or wherever, just people with higher consciousness than human beings with higher consciousness than human beings, energy with higher consciousness than human beings, whatever you want to call it, pure energy, people that have come out of our karmic system. They've already reached heaven, if you want to call it that. Whatever that energy is that's higher than human beings consciously now, noticed that there was a problem on Earth. And so they came to Earth and incarnated as human bodies, because humans, think about it. Think about how when Jesus came down, everybody doubted him. He ended up being crucified. Because when people come down to Earth and they're like, yo, I have the answers to all of the world's problems, that person's probably going to seem like holier than thou, or a little bit arrogant. And you might wonder if there's something wrong with them. You might even check them into a psych ward or whatever. So it's not like I don't know if you've ever heard of that sort of expression of what would you do? Would you even believe it if hold on just a moment. Sorry about that, I had to pause. But I don't know if you've heard the phrase where it's would you even believe in yourself if God came down right now, whoever God is, and was just yo, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is that you need to hear. And most people would say no. Even if God came down right now before you today, or if Jesus came back right down before you today, whatever it is you believe, would you actually believe that person, or would you think that they were crazy? What if you saw this weird alien looking creature come down before you and say, hey, there's more to life. I'm from a different dimension. you would probably think that you're crazy. People just doubt themselves. Like, even if, like, the higher powers that be, whatever, would want to come down and help us, how would they even help us? Like, human consciousness is so fearful that even if they were to come down and help us, and I'm not even saying they haven't, because some people believe they have. I mean, they are helping, but I guess I'm saying, like, physical. Even if they came down in the physical, would you actually believe? So it's actually a pretty smart idea for them to want to just incarnate their energy into human bodies. So that way it's not so weird. It's just speaking through the lens of sort of an old soul human that doesn't have a lot of the karma of other past lives, or doesn't have the same, like, closed mindset that most humans have, but might feel perhaps alien living as a human, because perhaps some of the darker parts of human nature, such as feeling struck by fear or shame, I mean, we all experience that, right? But starseeds is the term to describe people that were incarnated through this sort of higher energy, higher power. And I think the thing to keep in mind with this is that a lot of people have taken this term as a way to feel special or better than. But from a higher dimensional perspective, there is no hierarchy. There is no better than. You can either grow from top to bottom or bottom to top. Like, we're all here to grow. We're all incarnated as humans. We all have things to learn. Some of us, though, I do believe, are already wise. Well, we're all wise. Some of us come here more wise than others, and their goal is to be grounded. And some of us come here more grounded, and their goal is to gain wisdom and understanding. Some of us come with all of this insight and understanding and wisdom that they can't even channel into anything productive, that they develop mental illnesses, or they just can't stay grounded. They can't actually manifest the things that they want in their life. And a lot of those people that struggle with that are actually starseeds. And so that concept was popularized by Dolores Canon, but there are dozens of others that have talked about this concept. Some of the most popular star systems that people talk about is the Arcturus star, the Pleiades, and a lot of these. Do your own research on that if you want to know, like, the types of starseeds there are. The way I see that now is that it's kind of irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant, but it's only so relevant to know what star seed you're from if you're trying to really heal something within you, within your multidimensional self, or you're trying to use what you've learned in past lives to sort of leverage wherever you're trying to go now. That's definitely something to explore that works for some people. I don't think it works for everybody, though. I just want to say, like, I think that some people, if they get too far into that stuff, then it doesn't help them become grounded, because we're humans for a reason. Like, it does not matter what your past life was. You're still a human now, and if you come into the world with this godly, otherworldly attitude, you're gonna need to learn to get humble, and you're gonna be taught by the world what it feels like to be a human, because we're all humans. So be careful not to get caught up in that, like, what starseed am I, or whatever. Or even, are you or are you not? Because if you are someone that's even interested in what this concept even is, chances are you resonate with what it means to be a starseed, and that's really enough. Like, if you resonate with that idea, then chances are you are one, because your heart is the compass as to, like, your heart holds intelligence, and that's something to keep in mind as well. So, if you're interested in this stuff, a YouTube channel that I recommend is actually called The Modern Spirituality. And there's tons of videos where they have channeled the different star systems to sort of get a sense, and you can hear directly from them what they have to say. So, Indigo Children. Whoops. Some of you guys might already be familiar with the concept of chakras. I'm not going to go super into chakras right now, but everything is energy, and every form of energy has a vibration. And one of those ways that we see as humans is that light has energy, or that the vibration of light translates into different colors. We see this with rainbows or whatever. We see that each color has its own frequency. And so when people say indigo children, they're saying a specific frequency of people, and that indigo children thing is related to the whole concept of star seeds, which is the idea that people, you know, come from higher powers and then move down. And I'm not even trying to say that their power is greater. Okay, higher power, that's not the best term I should have used. I really am meaning higher dimensions. Like, higher dimensions doesn't equal better. It's just how it is. I really cannot drill that home enough, that being from a higher dimension does not make you better. And if you come into this world thinking, oh, I'm so special, I'm such a starseed, and I'm better because X, Y, and Z, because you aren't going to be completing your mission on Earth. Your mission on Earth is to be a human and to embody that and to do what you need to do here and not go daydreaming about all the other lives you've lived. Now, the daydreaming about other lives you've lived could be really helpful. And if it's helpful, then I want you to do it. So that's just sort of my 2 cents there. But regarding the Indigo Children thing, it's just sort of a broader term to describe people who were born like pretty much millennials. People who were born, I'm pretty sure the cutoff is like 1978. A lot of people had a lot of prophecies about that time, that the people who were born from like 1978 to 2000 were going to be like these ones to save us or whatever. And I mean, you can see in our astrology that we have Pluto and Scorpio, most of us. And I think that the whole idea of what Pluto and Scorpio is really resonates with the color indigo. So, that's really all that is referring to. It's sort of a umbrella term to refer to the people who were born around that time. And different people have different interpretations of what that means. And I, again, encourage you to do your own research there. I personally believe I am a starseed and an indigo child. It feels weird to announce that and say that out loud. I think a lot of people that I interact with probably is as well. And the traits for indigo children is pretty much that they are kind of, a lot of the traits, if you look it up, they sound exactly like millennial stereotypes. They're the type that doesn't take well to traditional ways of schooling or traditional ways of disciplining. They are kind of have this vibrant spirit. Oh, and the reason I brought up chakras before is because indigo is also the color that is correlated with the third eye. And so indigo children are seen to have a very strong third eye, which refers to their inner wisdom and intuition. So they're very top-heavy people. They have strong third eyes and not as strong roots typically. I mean, you can grow that, but I'm just saying generally how people are born into. And I think that it's just as valid no matter who you are or where you are to want to integrate and to be the fullest person that you are. And I think that thinking about yourself as a starseed or as an indigo child can be helpful as a tool in understanding where you are and where you need to go. But it, again, just like with Myers-Briggs, it shouldn't be used as like a scapegoat to your growth. It should be used as a roadmap of where you are now. Like, for example, I have very strong wisdom, but but I don't know how to take care of myself, and I'm struggling to figure out how to like make money and like be stable, things like that. I'm very top heavy energetically as a person, and I've always been that way, and I'm getting better, and that's why I really care about being grounded, and that's why I have hesitated to share these sorts of things before, because I really just fear being this sort of like woo-woo, like guru person. Like, I want to be able to have things to back things up. So again, that's why I'm saying listen to your own inner wisdom and do your own research and come to your own conclusions. I think these are great tools. Hopefully I did a good enough job at least introducing them to you. I know there are tons of other videos out there, but about this that talk about it more in depth, but that's really all I have to say. Let me know if you have any other questions or other video topic ideas. I'm gonna just continue to do whatever I feel inspired to do, and I hope that you all continue to follow me on my journey. Thank you.